Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time is not just the best of the original Ninja Turtle games, it's quite possibly the best beat-em-up on the Super Nintendo. Back in the 1990s, you could be forgiven for thinking the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were just a fad that would eventually fade away, but it turns out the story of four wisecracking turtle monsters that fight in a Japanese style and are named after Italian artists is a timeless concept that manages to reinvent itself over and over again for new audiences. When Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird created the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book back in 1984, they had to borrow money from family members just to get it published. 3 years later, in 1987, a small company called Playmates licensed the Turtles for one of the most successful toy lines of all time. By 1997, they had made over $1 billion selling Turtles toys, making it the third best-selling action figure line of all time, only behind G.I. Joe and Star Wars. The success of the action figures was largely due to the wildly popular television series, and then in 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie became the highest-grossing independent film up until that time. So of course the Turtles exploded onto the video game scene as well. The TMNT arcade game, developed by Konami and released in October of 1989, became the highest-grossing arcade game of 1990. The game's expressive animations and cartoonish graphics did a great job of capturing the feel of the television show. The arcade game got a home release on the NES, which is an excellent port considering the limitations of the hardware, but is hardly a perfect copy of the arcade original. Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project was only on the NES, but Turtles 4 was a true sequel developed for the arcade. Turtles in Time was directed by Gen Suzuki, a programmer from the first Turtles arcade game. He would go on to design the TMNT games for the Game Boy Advance, and he'd also work on the Bomberman games for the Nintendo DS, as well as Ninja 5-0. The music was composed by Mutsuhiko Izumi, who had also worked on the first Turtles arcade game. The soundtrack has a great upbeat energy and does an excellent job of illustrating the different time periods visited in the game. Of course, Turtles in Time was another massive hit when it released in the arcade in March of 1991. This sequel had everything people liked about the first arcade game, but adds in just enough new content to make it feel fresh. Each turtle feels more unique than ever, and can even toss foot soldiers towards the screen. In the story, Shredder banishes the turtles into a time warp, so they'll battle the Foot Clan across various periods of history, from the ancient past to the sci-fi future. Other than starring the same main characters, it has absolutely nothing to do with the 1993 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, which had the subtitle Turtles in Time added for the video release. In that movie, the Turtles time travel back to feudal Japan, one of the few places they don't go in the game. Considering how well the game did in the arcade, a home release was inevitable. This time it was an exclusive for the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo version only allows 2 players to play at once instead of the 4 players supported by the arcade, and there are fewer enemies on the screen at one time. Still, the Super Nintendo version looks very close to the arcade original, and even adds some new content, like the Rat King boss and the entire Technodrome level. The Sega Genesis got a similar game called the Hyperstone Heist, which borrows some elements from Turtles in Time, but is ultimately a different game. The Hyperstone Heist is a good bit shorter, and you won't be able to do the screen throw attack here, which certainly changes up the strategy. Turtles in Time was a huge success when it released for the Super NES in late 1992. Critics appreciated the nearly arcade-perfect graphics, and players were excited to finally get a good two-player co-op game on the Super Nintendo. Strangely, Turtles 5 was a fighting game like Street Fighter, and it got lost in the sea of games that were trying to imitate that style. From there, the Turtles faded a bit from the video game spotlight. They had a few decent handheld releases, but I'd argue that up until 2022's Shredder's Revenge, Turtles in Time was their best video game. In modern times, players and critics still agree that Turtles in Time is a lot of fun. When IGN released their list of the top 100 SNES games of all time, they ranked Turtles in Time at number 39. If you'd like to play Turtles in Time on a modern platform, both the arcade and Super Nintendo versions are included as part of the Cowabunga collection on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Modern players that attempt this game will still have to deal with all of the challenges retro games are notorious for. You'll face swarms of vicious enemies that will flank you from all sides. The bosses have a lot of health and can deal tons of damage. Make too many wrong moves, and it'll be game over. But what if I told you the best way to survive all 10 challenging levels? What if I showed you a secret trick to warp past most of the Technodrome? And what if I showed you the best way to defeat every boss? Even Super Shredder himself? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. Let's get started. All right, Turtles in Time. As you can see, this game was made by Konami, and yes, that means you can use the Konami code here. You'll need 2 controllers to do it. On controller 1, you're going to highlight options on the title screen, and then on controller 2, press up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. Then press start on controller 1 to enter the options menu, and you'll see that you'll now be able to select 10 lives instead of the normal maximum of 7. We're going to use the default 3 lives setting, but I don't think it's cheating to up it to 7. We're going to set the difficulty to hard. If you don't choose hard difficulty, you won't see the true ending of the game. And make sure you set player dash to manual. You probably want to turn off back attack, and if you head down to the sound test, if you go to staff, and while you're listening to the song you press the Y button, you'll be able to hear this secret song. Now I don't know why they hid this song here, maybe it just didn't fit any other way, but if you want to hear it, that's the way to do it. Once your options are all set properly, you can exit the options menu, and we'll start up a new game. So which turtle should we choose? All 4 are reasonable options, and they can all perform similar attacks. The amount of damage those attacks deal varies considerably from turtle to turtle, and makes each of the 4 unique. Leonardo is the most well-rounded of the 4, which also means he's not especially good at anything. His special attack, the Spin Slash, is easy to use and is good when surrounded by enemies, but it only deals a dismal 8 damage, the lowest damage special in the game. You'll take damage as a cost to use your special attack, so oftentimes Leo's just isn't worth it. If you're a big Leonardo fan, go ahead and give him a try, but one of the turtles had to be the worst, and this time it's Leo. Donatello is the best at jumping attacks. His downward chop deals an insane 14 damage, so if you're going to use Dawn, you should try to use this move often. Dawn's special attack, the pole vault, is a bit awkward to use, but it deals an impressive 14 damage. Sadly, Dawn's basic attacks are the weakest of the four. Dawn's a solid choice, but not as good as the remaining two turtles. Michelangelo has 96 hit points, which is the most of the four turtles, and double what Raphael has. Every life and every pizza goes much farther as Mike, and his special attack only requires 2 bars of health to use, instead of 3. His basic attacks are the best of the four, making Mike an amazing tank that is perfect for beginners. Mike's special, the Flying Chop, sends him flying across the screen and deals 12 damage. Not bad. Mike's weakness are his dashing attacks, but if you're new to the game, you probably won't use these very much anyways. If you're willing to put in a bit of practice, Raphael is the best choice. He has the lowest health in the game, but he moves the fastest, so you'll need to use his maneuverability to compensate for his lack of HP. Raph's dash attacks are the best in the game, all dealing double-digit damage. His dash special deals 16 damage, which is just enough to kill most enemies in a single hit. This move will allow Raph to fly around the screen, wiping out anything in his path. Raph's special, the Spin Kick, also deals 16 damage and is easy to use. It's the most powerful special attack in the game and can absolutely wreck the bosses. I'll be playing this run as Raphael, but I'll also be showing some alternate boss strategies with Michelangelo. Either of these characters is a good choice, and most of the strategies in this video will work with any character. Alright, let's jump into the game. Here at the beginning we see this cutscene where Krang flies in and does a David Copperfield on the Statue of Liberty. April just happens to be there to catch it on film. Did Shredder call her first and say something like, "Hey, we're going to be maybe stealing the Statue of Liberty later? We were thinking about doing it at 6:30 so there'd be a nice sunset for the video footage. Anyways, just thought you should know. Bye." Considering Krang stole the Statue of Liberty in the evening, we have to show up to this random construction site at 3 AM. It makes total sense. Regardless of which turtle you're playing as, the best way to deal with the standard enemies are your grab attacks. Hit a foot soldier once so that he bends over, then position your turtle directly in front of him on the same vertical plane and attack again. If you don't press any directions, you should get a power slam, which will hit all of the nearby enemies. Against these enemies that are coming out of the door, you can do your dash special. To dash, you want to tap a direction and then press that direction again and hold it so that you'll start running. Then press the A button, assuming you're using controller type C, and you'll do a flying kick, which will deal 16 damage, and most of the standard enemies only have 16 health, so you'll be able to easily avoid them. Quickly try to get past Krang when he's on the screen. Those eye lasers are very annoying, and you will not be able to do the screen throw attack while Krang is there. To do the screen throw, you want to hold towards the enemy whenever you do the grab, and to do the power slam, don't hold any directions when you attempt the grab. You'll need to get good at both moves, but for this early stage, the power slam is more important. The power slam instantly kills whichever enemy you grab. Any enemies that get hit by the slam take 32 damage, which is enough to kill almost anything. You won't find too many enemies that have more health than that. Baxter Stockman is the first boss, and he's flying, so we need to do jump attacks to hit him. You want to line up with either his shadow or where the bullets from his gun land on the ground, and when he starts to fly towards you, jump in the air and try to do your downward chop. You'll do that by pressing your attack button at the very peak of your jump. When Baxter lands on the ground, unload on him with everything you've got, and when he's doing this hand attack at the end, you just want to stay close to him and work him down to the bottom of the screen, where it will be much easier to avoid the hand. Another strategy that you can try is hanging out in the upper left corner. So just go up there and Baxter will eventually follow you to the top of the screen. He won't be able to reach you with his gun from the right side, and as long as you don't jump while he's shooting the gun, you should be able to hit him when he comes over to the left. When he lands on the ground, hit him as hard as you can, and then continue the strategy even after he has the handgun. From this spot will be mostly safe, and you can even jump attack Baxter while he's extending the hand. Once he lands on the ground, you should be able to finish him off, and Baxter will spontaneously combust and then fall off the edge of the construction site to his death. And that'll bring us to scene 2.
Alleycat Blues.
Here at the beginning of Alleycat Blues, there's a fire hydrant that you can pop and it will deal massive damage to the enemies, but you want to wait to use it until a blue enemy appears from the right side. He's a bit more dangerous than these purple guys. So there he is, hit the fire hydrant and he'll be easily finished off. And then as you make your way to the right, we're going to continue to use our power slam technique to clear out groups of enemies. These orange foot soldiers will throw knives at you if you give them a chance, so don't. And if you use your special attack at the right time, you can deflect that manhole cover back at the enemies for massive damage. Avoid falling into the sewer and make your way to the right. If you leave a foot soldier on the screen, you could potentially power slam him into all the roadkill Rodneys there and take them out in a single shot. Another way to deal with the roadkill Rodneys is to use your dash special attack. So try that if you're unable to power slam a foot soldier into them. And as you fight the remaining enemies here, either screen throw them or power slam them, and just get rid of them in any way you can. Once we clear this last orange foot soldier, 3 roadkill Rodneys will pop up out of the pavement, and we can quickly defeat them with our dash special attack. Remember, if you're playing as a different turtle other than Raph, your dash special won't deal as much damage, and you may need to hit those guys again. Use the bomb pizzas to clear out the foot soldiers and make your way over here to the right. You can deflect a manhole cover with your special attack, and then there will be a few more waves of enemies before we have to fight the boss. You'll see that there's a pizza in the upper left corner. If you have a decent amount of health remaining, you may want to leave that pizza there so that we can pick it up during the boss fight. The easiest way to defeat Metalhead is to use your dash special to push him to the left at the beginning of the fight, and then quickly spam your special attacks on him. Grab the pizza at the top of the screen and then run to the lower right corner, where you'll be able to finish off Metalhead as soon as he puts his gun away. Now, you can't use your special attack in this game if you don't have enough health to use it, so if you're running low on HP when you get to the boss, another strategy that you might want to try is a bit more conservative. Head to the top of the screen and try to attack Metalhead as he moves up to attack you. Whenever he goes to the upper right corner, he's going to pop out his gun. It's possible to use a dash attack to disrupt it. If you don't disrupt the gun, he'll fire it down to the lower right corner and you'll have another good opportunity to attack him down there. Once he gets very low on health, you can finish him with your special attacks, but remember, when you're playing as Michelangelo, your basic attacks deal a ton of damage, so don't get real fancy with jump kicks or dashing attacks. You're better off just doing your 4-hit combo. And that brings us to scene 3, which is kind of a bonus stage. If you can clear all of the foot soldiers, collect all of the pizzas, and defeat all of the pizza monsters, you'll get a huge 50-point bonus, but it's difficult to do, so just do your best. I like to stay in the back middle of the screen, most of the foot soldiers will come to you. The ones you gotta watch for are the blue ones. Those are a little bit harder to hit. I like to use my special attack on those guys. We're going to be getting a bunch of bonus pizzas in a moment anyway, so it's okay to unload a few specials. Something you should know about your special attack is you only get charged health for using it if it hits an enemy, so you can use it defensively against traps and hazards for free. If you stay in the upper left corner and just keep using your special attack, you won't get hit by those falling gates, and you can also use it to avoid these spiky balls in the water. That'll make it a little bit easier to get the pizza, but if you do hit one of those spiky balls, you'll be bouncing around for a moment and you won't be able to collect any pizza during that time. The pizza monsters are the most difficult part of the bonus stage. Line up with them while they're underwater, and as soon as they pop out of the water, hit them with a jump kick. If you're a little bit late, use your special attack. There will be one more pizza at the end. We nailed the perfect bonus stage and got the 50 extra points. But even if you didn't get the 50 extra points, you should be well on your way towards your next extra life. And that brings us to the Rat King. You want to get right in the middle of his raft so you won't get hit by the missiles on the side. He will take one hit from the gun in the middle, and once he starts releasing those spiky balls, count out 8 of them, then get right in front of him and start spamming your special attack. If you're playing as Raph, the Rat King will go right down. As Michelangelo, you can do essentially the same thing. Your special attacks don't deal as much damage as Raphael's, but your basic attacks deal more than his, so that kind of makes up for the difference. Just keep using your base attacks until he spits out the spiky balls, avoid them at the top of the screen and wait until you've done 8 of them, then get down in front of the Rat King and start spamming your special attack. He's going to start the spiky balls again. Just keep doing the special attack and you'll get through for the last bit of damage. It doesn't really matter which character you play as, the Rat King is one of the easier bosses in the game, and that brings us to the Technodrome? Already? Yep.
Technodrome, let's kick shout.
The Technodrome is a new level for the Super Nintendo version of the game and features tons of enemies, lots of traps, and 2 boss battles. You'll need to have your power slams, screen throws, and dash specials ready to get through this one. Clear out that first set of roadkill Rodneys by power slamming an enemy into them or using your dash specials, and then continue to power slam enemies to eliminate groups. Once you get to this room, Mousers will start attacking you. Mousers have very little hit points, so they can be killed with a single hit, but they will aggressively attack you and are surprisingly dangerous. You can't power slam Mousers, but you will be invincible while you're power slamming a foot soldier. So whenever there's a bunch of Mousers on the screen, if you can power slam someone else, they'll run right into it. We need to collect this pizza soon, so we might as well use a few special attacks first. And don't grab that bomb pizza right away. Take out this first wave of easier purple foot soldiers, then grab the bomb pizza to hit the next wave of foot soldiers, and you should be able to push into some of these more difficult ones if you hurry to the right. Once we clear this last foot soldier, it'll be time to fight the first boss of the Technodrome, Toka and Rahzar. I like to take Toka first. You want to hit him a few times and then back away, and see if he does a counterattack. If he doesn't, move in and hit him a few more times. You can't completely ignore Rahzar, so watch out for his flaming breath, and if you see the two come together, you want to put the kibosh on that right away. Hit them, and that should disrupt their team-up attack. Now that Toka is out of the picture, Rahzar will be easy to defeat. Hit him a few times and then back away, see if he does a counterattack, and then whether he does one or not, move back in and hit him a few more times. Just keep repeating this pattern, hit him a few times, move back to the left, see if he does a counterattack and then get back in there, and it won't be long before he turns back into his normal puppy dog form and the electric gate will open. Now, it wouldn't be a proper beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo without an elevator stage, so that's what we have here. There's a pizza and you might need it after fighting that last boss, but if you don't need it, you can leave it on the screen and pick it up when you get low on health. A lot of these enemies can be easily defeated by grouping them on the same side of the screen and just pummeling them with your 4-hit combo. When the elevator moves for the second time, get to the middle of the left side and then quickly do your dash special across to the right to clear out 3 roadkill Rodneys. On this floor there's 3 Mousers. Swing once to the right and once to the left to kill them. Up here we're going to face several more foot soldiers. This time you're going to want to use your grab attacks. Try to get them with a power slam, and that should clear them all out at once. When the pink blocker foot soldiers pop up out of the ground, that is the last wave of enemies, so make sure you collect the pizza before you defeat the last one. And then it's going to be time to fight Tank Shredder. If you're not good at dash attacks and screen throws, Tank Shredder will haunt your dreams. On hard mode, all of the enemies are these pink blocker foot soldiers. You need to dash and then press the attack button to do a shoulder bash. That's the easiest way to stun them, and then you need to do a screen throw to damage Shredder. You need to do 9 screen throws to take him out. If Shredder's reticle turns red, that means he's going to attack, so you'll want to get out of the way. And if you're not getting the screen throws, you're probably not in the right position. You want to be on the same vertical plane as your enemy, and you want to be right in front of him, not on top of him. If you do that, it should work. And once you hit Shredder 9 times, he will banish you into a time warp. Yeah, Shredder, we'll see if we never return. Before we move on, it is possible to skip past most of this level. To do it, you'll need a second controller, and you'll need to either be able to play both controllers by yourself, which is difficult, or you'll need a friend to help you out. The trick will be easier to perform if you have Michelangelo as player 2. So either play a 2-player game with Michelangelo in the second player slot, or work your way up to this point with any other character. We need to get to the part of the Technodrome where the Mousers spawn, so once we clear this last set of foot soldiers, that's when we're going to bring in Michelangelo. I'm going to rubber band 2 controllers together, and we need to get them both to the top of the screen and both to the exact same spot in the upper left corner. When a Mouser attacks the turtles at the same time, you press the attack button with Michelangelo, and this is what happens. Now I am going to show it again in slow motion. For the trick to work, both turtles need to be in the exact same spot on the screen, so you want to go all the way to the top of the screen and have both turtles do a dash special to the left. And then just as a Mouser is about to attack the turtles, have Michelangelo do a basic attack. And if they start walking off, you'll know you got the trick to work. This will warp you all the way to the Shredder battle, and you'll notice that it also reloads scene 4. But the Shredder battle is a checkpoint, so it takes you back there anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. So just wait for the battle to reload the second time, and this time you'll be able to actually fight Shredder. Hit him with 9 foot soldiers, and you'll be on to scene 5. So Shredder has access to a time machine, and he uses it to send the turtles back to the ancient past where they could accidentally destroy the future?
Prehistoric Turtlesauras.
Yeah, great idea, genius. Even Biff knew how to use a time machine better than that. In any case, Shredder sent us here, so we'll have to fight our way out. When you encounter these dinosaurs that drop rocks on you, or the ones that charge in from the side, if you spam your special attack, you'll be protected from these enemies, and you won't take any damage. As the foot soldiers rain down from above, try to group them on the same side of the screen and then clear them all with a big dash special. You can also try to grab a foot soldier and power slam him into some others. This is especially good against the annoying pink foot soldiers that block your attacks. As we enter the cave area, we'll encounter some blue foot soldiers that carry heavy axes. These guys can deal a good amount of damage, and they have 32 health, which is twice as much as a normal enemy. Grab attacks are still lethal against those guys, so try to power slam them into each other. Watch out for stalactites that fall from above, and then move away as these stone warriors charge onto the screen. If you attack them quickly enough with your 4-hit combo, you can disrupt most of their attacks, and the best way to deal with them is to try to push them off the edge of the screen and just keep attacking until you hear them explode. Some stone warriors have 40 hit points, making them the biggest normal enemies in the game. So just keep attacking them and chip away at their health, and they'll eventually explode. Once they're defeated, you'll encounter some more foot soldiers. This time there's some yellow ones that throw bombs at you, and those guys seem like they could be a problem, but actually they can help you out. Try to get them to throw the bombs at the pink blocker foot soldiers, and that will clear them easily. You can grab this bomb pizza to take out some enemies, and then make your way outside of the cave. Once again, the bomber foot soldiers can help you out, and then just power slam one of these purple foot soldiers to get rid of whoever's left. If you're power slamming when a dinosaur charges through, you'll be protected, otherwise you may need to use your special attack to keep yourself safe. Over here you'll find a much needed pizza. You may need to eat it right away, otherwise you can leave it on the screen until necessary. We're getting pretty low on health here, so we better pick it up. Remember, if you need to take out one of those pink blocker foot soldiers, if there's no one around to power slam into him, you'll need to do a shoulder bash that will stun him, and then you can do one of your grab moves. Over here we'll clear one more wave of stone warriors before we fight the boss, Slash. Stand over here on the right side of the screen on top of this crack in the ground before the battle begins. As soon as it starts, hit Slash with one basic attack, and then you're going to tap and hold to the left and press attack to do a shoulder bash. Now you want to press left and attack again to do another shoulder bash, and just keep doing that over and over again 11 times. Here it is in slow motion. So left and attack, 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 left and attack. And I kind of messed it up a little bit at the end, but you want to finish with a dash special and then just keep spamming your regular special attack until Slash goes down. If you do it perfectly, you'll be able to finish Slash before he'll be able to fight back. However, that is difficult to do. Even if you're not playing as Raph or you're not confident in your abilities, you should at least try to do the shoulder bashes at the beginning of this fight, because at minimum you'll deal some damage to the boss. If you don't finish him off right away, do not charge in and attack this boss directly. He'll block you and it will not be good. Instead, you want to stay away from him and bait him into jumping towards you. When he jumps or uses a jump-like attack, get out of the way of it and try to position yourself so that you'll be behind him when he lands. This is your chance to attack. Now it's worth noting, if you're playing the 2-player mode, you can have one player get in front of Slash and have the other player attack from behind. He'll try to block both of you, but he won't be successful for long. Slash is probably the most difficult boss in the game, but if you were playing the arcade version, you would fight a mud monster instead. Slash was a new addition for the Super Nintendo version.
Skull and Crossbones.
We've time traveled ahead to 1530, and now we're suddenly on a pirate ship. As you're fighting along the deck, Watch out for boards that seem to be nailed down with a small wooden patch. If you step on them, they'll spring up and deal you damage. So here's one up here, this is what you're looking for. Watch out for those. The enemies jump in from the top of the screen here, so get to the top and use your dash specials to clear them out quickly. You'll also be in a good spot to avoid those archer foot soldiers. Make your way over to the right and you want to very quickly deal with that yellow guy as soon as he pops onto the screen. That guy is one of the most dangerous foot soldiers in the game, a boomerang foot soldier, but if you take care of him quickly, he won't be a problem. In this area, we need to fight some stone warriors while another ship bombards us with cannonballs. If you stay all the way at the top of the screen, the cannonballs will never hit you, and you won't have to worry about them. Now you can just work the stone warriors over to the left side and keep fighting them off screen until they explode. We can use this bomb pizza to quickly take out some archer foot soldiers and earn some quick points. And if we stay at the top here, we can clear out another few lines of purple foot soldiers with our dash special. These yellow foot soldiers are just the kind that throw bombs at you. They are not the boomerang foot soldiers, so you don't have to be too worried about them. But over on the right side, we are going to encounter a set of 2 boomerang foot soldiers, so get ready and take them out right now. So they barely had a chance to get onto the screen, but we were able to clear them. If you don't take them out quickly, they'll surround you and start hitting you with their boomerangs. We've reached the captain's cabin here at the end of the ship. Use your dash specials to push these last stone warriors over to the left side of the screen where you can finish them off. And then get the pizza if you need it, because we're about to fight Bebop and Rocksteady. If you stand in front of them at the beginning of the fight, Rocksteady will lunge at you, and you can get out of the way, get behind him, and start letting him have it with your special attack or dash specials. You only need to defeat one of the 2 bosses here to win this fight, so just focus all of your firepower on Rocksteady and you'll be able to win. If you're not comfortable with spamming special attacks until you're down to almost no health left, let's take a look at the Michelangelo strategy. It starts out the same way, but you want to generally stay in the upper left corner. It'll be harder for Rocksteady to maneuver around up there, and you can easily deal a bunch of damage to him, and eventually he'll go down. Remember, you only need to defeat one of the 2 bosses, and then they'll fight each other and finish the battle. This Bebop and Rocksteady fight is another special edition for the Super Nintendo version of the game. In the arcade game, you would fight Toka and Razar on the ship. And that brings us back to good old 1885.
Bury my shell at Wounded Knee.
Well, Marty, if we can get this train up to 88 miles per hour, maybe we can ride it back to the future. Strike this barrel and follow behind it to mow down a bunch of foot soldiers with no effort. Over here, we'll encounter our first enemy that attacks with a chain. I guess technically it's a Kusarigama, but whatever you call it, he can be killed with a screen throw or a power slam just like any other foot soldier. Once you clear the last few foot soldiers in the outside portion of the train, get to the top of the screen. There's a few enemies here that are wearing disguises. As soon as they toss them off, hit them with your dash special attack to quickly take them out. There's a nice mix of foot soldiers for you to fight over here, and then we're going to head to the right where we'll be attacked by some stone warriors. As usual, you want to group them onto the side of the screen, and as soon as you can start moving to the right, run over that way and you may be able to avoid fighting at least one of the stone warriors that would charge at you from the left. We'll take out this last guy, and there's a pizza there if you need it. Make sure you head to the upper right corner before those barrels drop down. That'll put you in a good position to avoid them. And we'll use a few special attacks before grabbing that pizza, so at least we get something out of it. Some blue foot soldiers with swords, and then a few of those orange foot soldiers with the Kusarigamas attack here. Either power slam them or screen throw them out of existence. When you head over here to the right, don't immediately hit the fireworks. Instead, you want to clear out this first wave of stone warriors. If we do this right, we can skip all the way to the boss. Take out this first wave of stone warriors, wait for the next 3 to get on the screen, set off the fireworks, and then quickly head to the right, jumping over the 2 that charge at you. That'll take you directly to Leatherhead. You'll have a good opportunity to ambush Leatherhead at the beginning of the fight. We'll use a bunch of special attacks because there's a pizza we can collect right away. When you're fighting Leatherhead, if you stay all the way at the top of the screen and try to avoid him whenever he's crawling around on the ground, you'll be mostly safe. So just stay all the way at the top and let Leatherhead come to you. When he runs to the other side of the screen, follow him over there and get ready to attack him again. Just stay at the top, keep attacking, and eventually Leatherhead will be defeated. Leatherhead is one of the easier bosses in the game, and if you don't want to just stay at the top of the screen, just try to stay higher on the screen than where Leatherhead is. As long as you're higher up than him, he'll have to move towards you, and you'll have a great opportunity to hit him. Also, most of his attacks go directly in front of Leatherhead, like the knives or the lobster that he throws at you. So if you're slightly upstream from him, you'll be safe from pretty much everything. One thing that you're not safe from are the barrels that start falling from the sky after you've done a fair amount of damage to the boss. Luckily, they telegraph their location by showing a shadow long before they actually appear, so if you get hit by a barrel, that is definitely your own fault. Follow these strategies and it won't be long before Leatherhead falls out the side of the train car and explodes somewhere in the Old West. And with that, it'll be time to leave 1885 behind, and we'll be heading to the future. Kinda.
Neon Knight Riders.
That's right. The next scene takes place in good old 2020. You remember 2020, right? It was that year when everyone got hoverboards and started riding them around in the streets. This one's another bonus stage, and just like Surfin, if you can hit all of the foot soldiers, collect all of the pizza, and then hit all of the foot copters, you'll be able to get a 50-point bonus, but it's even more difficult this time than it was last time. Don't be afraid to use your special attack when you see 2 foot soldiers come at you at once. That's a good way to deal with them. The hardest part of this challenge is collecting the pizzas. You'll know it's pizza time when you see the first mousers and the road starts to curve a bit. The first few pizzas are easy to grab, and you can use your special attack to go through the mousers. However, there's a couple pizzas at the end that you can only collect by carefully doing your basic attack perfectly timed between 2 mousers. And here it is in slow motion. Just like that, and again just like that. Those 2 pizzas are extremely difficult to collect. Now we have to deal with the foot copters. You want to line up with their shadow so that you're on the correct vertical plane, and then do a jumping attack. It doesn't matter which jump attack you do as long as it connects with the foot copter. They do not have a lot of hit points. And if you did everything perfectly, you'll get another 50-point bonus. Nice. And then it'll be time to fight the boss, Super Krang. Although it looks like he shrunk down considerably. Just a few minutes ago, he was stomping through the streets of New York doing his best Stay Puft Marshmallow Man impression. Well, that's good news for us, and as the fight begins, you want to be right here and you want to jump up in the air and do your downward chop attack. If you do it correctly, you'll hit him 2 times as you come down, and then you want to hit him quickly with your 4-hit combo. Once you've hit Krang 6 times, it will trigger him to fly to the other side of the screen, and then you should follow him and try to hit him with 2 more downward chops and another 4-hit combo. When he gets down to his last bar of health, you can finish him off with your special attack. A more conservative strategy that you can use against Super Krang is to try to stay higher up on the screen than the boss. The boss will often launch attacks that fire directly in front of him, like the missiles, and you'll still be able to hit him if you're slightly above his position. You don't even have to be good with your jump kicks. As long as you stay above Krang on the screen, you'll be able to get in a lot of hits and you'll be fairly safe from most of his attacks. Now, whenever he does this bubble attack, he'll leave the screen. You can just spam your special and you won't take damage from the bubbles, and then you might as well finish off Krang with a few more specials once he reappears. Krang says that we're going to pay, and we certainly haven't seen the end of him. But with that, we can finally leave 2020 behind and head to the actual future. 2100 AD, the Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
This will be the final and most difficult regular scene. Don't forget that if you run out of lives in a one-player game and have to use a continue, you'll go back to the beginning of the current level. However, if you quickly join in a second player before you die, he can pick up where you left off and finish the game in your stead. Hop over these next 2 stone warriors and then grab the bomb pizza to quickly remove them. Take out these next few foot soldiers in whatever way you can. Either power slam them or screen throw them. A few of these robot walkers will drop down, and you want to take them out quickly. They don't have very much health, but if you let them get going, they'll hit you with a shocking electrical attack. Use your dash special or your grab moves to take out the next set of foot soldiers, and keep pushing to the right. We're getting close to the next pizza, but we're not quite there yet, so if you're getting low on health, hang in there. In the next area, foot soldiers will pop in through chutes at the top of the screen. If you go up to the top, you can use your dash special to take them all out in a quick line. Slowly move forward here. Take out this first purple foot soldier that appears, then run forward and quickly take out the boomerang foot soldier that appears to the right. If you dash to the right quickly enough after taking him out, you can avoid fighting the other 2 boomerang foot soldiers that appear behind him. Grab the pizza and try to get away from those freeze hexagons as soon as you can. Just try not to stand on them when they're blinking blue. When you see one of these large bowling balls, quickly hit it and it'll bounce away. If you wait too long, it'll come rolling towards you. So hit that ball out of the way, and then take care of the foot soldiers. Make those large balls the first priority. You only need to kill the stone warrior that attacked from the right here, and then you can hurry to the right and leave the other 2 behind. These enemies that drop the fire bombs on you don't have very much health and often will retreat after firing. Take out that last stone warrior, and don't forget you can attack him off screen if necessary. Continue on to the right where more foot soldiers will attack you. There's a few of those Kusarigama ones and a few of your standard purple variety. Grab the bomb pizza and take out the enemies that came out of the chutes, and be careful of these lasers as you head to the right. They are very annoying. It seems like it would be easy to avoid those lasers, but oftentimes when you're fighting the enemies, they'll bump you into them. So try to stay away from the lasers when possible, and as soon as you can advance past them, get to the right side. That pizza is an indicator that we're almost to the boss, but first we need to take out the 2 stone warriors in the upper left corner, but you can ignore the one that attacks in the lower left corner. Once they're gone, it'll be time to fight the Krang Pod. He starts out in a spot where you should be able to hit him with your special move, but Krang is a flying enemy, and after he disappears and reappears, he may appear in a spot where he's too high off the ground to hit with your special move, and you'll need to hit him with a jump attack instead. Try not to be directly to the left or the right of Krang because he'll attack you with a bubble attack. Instead, you want to stay on top of him and hit him right in the middle of his pod. Sometimes he'll drop some robot walkers. You'll need to clear those before he'll come back, and if he does this attack where he tries to smash you, as soon as he drops down, that's a great opportunity to hit him with your special. Let's look at a slightly different strategy with Michelangelo. You can just focus on doing the jump attacks, and then you won't have to worry about how high up in the air Krang is. The jump attacks are pretty much always going to connect. Look for Krang's shadow. That's what you want to line up with, and as soon as he's about to do that bubble attack, that's a good time to try to connect with the jump kick. You'll see him stop moving, line up with the shadow, and let him have it. Now if you do notice that he's not flying very high up in the air, you do want to attack him with your basic attacks because Michelangelo deals a lot of damage with basic attacks, so when you have opportunities to use those you should. And if you see him doing his crusher attack, look for where he's going to land and aim a jump kick right at it. This will keep you safe from the attack and make sure that you deal some damage whenever it lands. If you're having a lot of trouble with the Krang Pod, the easiest turtle to defeat him with is probably Donatello. Donatello's downward chop deals 14 damage, and his other jump attacks deal a lot of damage as well, so it won't take too many hits to finish off the Krang Pod with him. Once Krang explodes, leaving behind only his incinerated pod, a portal will open up that'll take us back to good old 1992. The final shell shock is just a boss fight against Super Shredder, so steel your nerves and prepare for battle.
Technodrome, the final shell shock.
At the beginning of the fight, Shredder floats up in the center of the arena and transforms. He's going to teleport towards you, and as soon as you get moving, you want to head to the top of the screen so that he'll follow you up there. Ideally, you want to work him to the upper left corner, and you can actually get him stuck over there, which will make him much easier to defeat. Shredder has 3 different attacks depending on which color flames he bursts into. However, if you time your special attack so that it hits right as he bursts into flames, it'll protect your turtle from the attack, and then you'll have an opportunity to just beat him senseless with your 4-hit combo. Keep doing this over and over again, and Shredder will go down quickly. It's really that easy. Now, you may not always be able to get him stuck in the upper left corner, but you always want to bring him to the top of the screen. That will make him easier to deal with. So as we fight him here with Michelangelo, we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to bring him to the top and try to work him to the upper left corner, but you need to stay on top of this guy and use your special just as soon as you see him stop teleporting. There's 3 different attacks, but it does not matter which one he does if you time your special correctly. Sometimes you may use your special a bit too late and it will hit Shredder. You'll take damage for that, but at least you'll also damage Shredder, so it's not a bad deal. With Michelangelo, you'll deal a lot of damage with your basic attacks, and that may make Shredder even easier to defeat. Shredder will go over the edge, and that's it. We've done it. We've beaten Turtles in Time. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. Now look, I've seen the Statue of Liberty. I'm pretty sure they would be standing in the water from that distance away from it. But in any case, at least it's back in its rightful spot. and the turtles can fly away in their blimp. And that's it. Roll the credits. But what about Shredder? Was he killed when he fell over the edge? I don't think so, because in the immortal words of Cyndi Lauper, if you fall, I will catch you, I will be waiting. Turtles in Time. These games were so popular in the arcade, I'm surprised that they didn't come out with another one somewhere along the way. I'm pretty sure that a third Turtles arcade game would have been another hit. Maybe they just thought that this one was just too hard to top. One thing that I noticed as I played through this time was how different the arcade version actually is from the Super Nintendo one. They made a lot of serious upgrades for the Super Nintendo, and while it doesn't support 4-player cooperative play, I think the SNES version may actually be better than the arcade original. After the credits wrap up, the ending continues on, going through the entire cast of characters. So you get a pretty substantial ending on this game. Not bad for a beat 'em up. If you finish the game on the normal or easy difficulties, you don't get any of this. You just get a message from Splinter that basically tells you that you need to try harder. So you might as well just cut to the chase and get good at the hard mode. One nice thing about hard mode is you get 5 continues. That's 1 more than you would get on normal and 2 more than you would get on easy. And you can crank the number of lives all the way up to 7 or 10 with the Konami code, and you'll still get the proper ending at the end of the game. A few parts of the game are much more difficult on hard mode, like the Tank Shredder battle. You won't have to fight the pink blocker foot soldiers when you fight Tank Shredder if you're playing on the normal difficulty. Instead, you'll just fight generic purple ones, which make it way easier. The fight with Slash is also a good bit easier on the lower difficulties, so you may want to play on those difficulties as practice, but you really aren't getting the true experience from this game until you attempt the hard mode. The hardest part of this game is getting good at the dash maneuver. One nice thing about the Hyperstone Heist on Sega is it has a dedicated run button, so you don't have to tap 2 directions to dash. You'd think with all the buttons on the Super Nintendo, they could have put dash on L or R, or at least gave you the option to do that. That would have made this game a lot easier to play. Another thing that I noticed on this playthrough is that the third hit of Raphael's 4-hit combo randomly deals 5 or 3 damage, and there's nothing you can do to really control that. None of the other turtles work that way. They all deal consistent damage for all of their other attacks, so it's very strange that they made this one exception for Raph. As Raph, you'll be mostly using your dash specials and your grab attacks, so you won't notice that often, but every once in a while it will come up. Something that I didn't talk much about here are back attacks, and that's an option that I turned off in the options menu. That's because if you have it on, sometimes when there's an enemy behind you and you attack, you'll turn around and do your back attack, but this takes away some control from your turtle, and if you're being attacked from both sides and you turn around to do your back attack, usually you intended to attack the guy in front of you, and you'd rather just not deal with that. So I recommend that you turn the back attack off. After this final scene with Super Shredder, we'll get one last message from Splinter. Congratulations, you have completed your training and are now true ninjas. Cowabunga. After that, you'll get to see your final score as well as your final game time, which I've heard is not extremely accurate, but is still kind of fun to see. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Turtles in Time and return the Statue of Liberty to its proper place. If it did, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more villains plotting to steal beloved landmarks, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.